Beyond Photography Show, Andrew Boy. In this episode, we'll be evaluating the Feiyu Tech SPG 3-axis gimbal. Well, it's been a while since we have done any unboxing in our product review. Let's do one. Front, back. Here's the thing about products made in China, and this is made in China. I noticed that of recent years, their packaging has improved a lot. Let's find out. Warranty card, addendum instruction, and the manual. And this is how it looks like. USB cable, but it's heavier than it's supposed to be. The gimbal itself. The one that we have is a unit that you've got to attach a phone to it. I'll explain to you why we chose this particular unit to get. Nothing else, it's just very quiet branding. Kind of like this now. USB cable. Battery. This goes in here. So if you look at the unit itself, it's pretty straightforward. You've got the gimbal here, charging port to charge the battery that I just inserted, an LED indication, a joystick, a record button, and an on button. Let's turn this on. Good point number one, future-proof. You must be thinking why we chose the Feiyu SPG that requires you to use a smartphone. The reason is because that if you get a 3-axis gimbal that has a built-in camera, and if it is a full HD or 4K, 4K may seem very cool now, but in few years, maybe 3 years down the road, 4K may be obsolete and everybody is filming with 8K, and you're stuck with a camera and a gimbal that cannot be upgraded. And that's the reason why my director and I chose to get the SPG. That way, at the moment now, I am fixing a Samsung Galaxy 4K smartphone to it. Good point number two. This gimbal is very easy to set up and use. Just take your favorite smartphone, install it and clamp it through the spring release. Now the trick is to make sure before you turn on your gimbal, you've got to make sure that this slider is as level as you can get with your phone. This is just about good enough. And you can do like what I did. I take a pencil, and once I've gotten it level, I make markings here. That way you can always get it as level as you can. And once you have gotten it level, turn and lock this knob. Turn on your gimbal. Once you have done that, you notice that it's calibrated and balanced. So I think the best way to evaluate a gimbal is not to do like what a lot of channels do. They take the gimbal and they follow a skateboarder or girl running upstairs like Rocky. Hey, director, I tell you what, why not we really bring this gimbal out and bring it to my street photography class and really do a whole episode on street photography tutorial. Let's see how it really fares and see whether it helps you to shorten your filming time. We are at the famous Chinese temple in Petaling Street, so I'm going to bring you around and learn a little bit about street photography. Let's go. So the thing about the Chinese temple is that you have a lot of deities that even a Chinese won't know all the names to the deities. These are my students. That's Suzanne, Sabrina, Samuel, Feng Wai, Yulian. Very colorful architecture. Got a lot of green and red. So the thing is to look for things like motifs and patterns. very quiet as well. This is called non-intrusive photography, as you walk around and move around and pay attention to people and things in your surroundings. You must be wondering what that is. I'll show you what that is. So what do you think after the whole day of filming with this?
Pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. We don't have to fumble with tripods anymore. Setup time was very easy. So that's how you use a 3-axis gimbal. Not to chase skaters. Good point number 3. The build quality of the SPG is really solid, pure metal stuff. Good point number 4. Battery life is very impressive. Have you ever run out of battery when you use this to film it?
Not so far.
Nope, I've never seen it run low on battery on us. Good point number 5. Easily replaceable battery. You can always unscrew it and take it out, and let me tell you this. If you are a vapor, you would have seen batteries like this a lot. 3.7 volt batteries. Good point number 6. The cool thing about the SPG is that not only it works with your smartphone, you can even put on your action camera because it comes with these 2 spongy inserts, and once you put them here, you can take your action camera, slot it in, and good point number 7. If there's anything I really like about the SPG is that the joystick knob here moves the camera very slowly, which is good because no one likes, say, whip pen. So this is very cinematic. Notice this? Good point number 8. You don't have to carry its own separate charger. As long as you have a USB cable, you can charge the battery that's in your gimbal. Good point number 9. We got our SPG from Tegas Broadcasting for slightly above 1,000 ringgit, making this 3-axis gimbal one of the cheapest you can find in the market. Bad point number 1. So 3 brief presses and followed by 1 press. So that's calibrated. And I noticed that it's always slightly tilted. But like all filming, when you're really doing it, it's always slightly. Maybe it's me, maybe it's my smartphone, maybe I'm just fussy. Bad point number 2. There's an app from Feiyu that you can download from Apple Store and Play Store that will allow you to have a Bluetooth connection from your smartphone to the gimbal. And this is where the button, by pressing this button, you can actually initiate a Bluetooth recording. So you don't have to press your phone. But for the love of God, I can never get it connected. Partly, I suspect it's because that I'm using an Android phone, and this is actually for iPhone. I hope that's the reason why, but I can never get it to work. Bad point number 3. Just love the manual, very beautiful illustration, but you need a magnifying glass to be able to read this manual, and apart from that, it's slightly confusing. But thank God that this gimbal only has 3 buttons. And bad point number 4. While it comes with this beautiful, expensive looking neoprene sleeve, one thing about it is that personally, I find it a little bit tight to take out sometimes. So that's our review of the Feiyu Tech SPG, and if you want to see the gimbal in full action, head on to this episode here and watch how we use it to film the whole tutorial. I'll see you in the next episode. Oh hey, you must remember this rule when you're filming with your smartphone with a 3-axis gimbal. It's not so much about the quality of your video footage, but what's important is your audio. So if you're going to be filming with a camera that is not so good, make sure that you have good audio. So that explains why you might want to get this Rode video mic that allows you to attach a better quality microphone to your smartphone. Meet my boss, Michelle. She's gonna go to the main deity of the temple and do a khao chim. That means to ask her wishes, and then the god will reply. Let's find out. Do you know what to ask?
Maybe see whether my customer will give us a project next week.
Okay, she wants to find out. We have a few projects. Right. We have a few projects to do next week from clients. We haven't gotten those projects yet. So we want to find out whether we get those projects. Okay? So what you do, you need to grab one of these. You see, they are all numbered. 69. And then you have 86. Okay? And then you have 57. Let me show you what these numbers mean. Come. Remember this? If you were to shake this and one of it falls out, you look for 43. This is 43. And it's written with beautiful fortune telling. It's a little bit like your fortune cookie, but way deeper. So she's making her wishes to the god now, asking the god, will I get the project, a photo shoot from my clients next week? So the strange thing is more than one stick may fall out. Okay, so if it's too thick, you have to repeat. So you gotta be patient with the Chinese god, okay? Okay, there you go. But she's got to confirm with the deity by throwing. All right, let's look at what that means. Once she has her stick dropping, she's got to throw this double kidney shaped wood. So this means no, that's not the stick you're supposed to get. That was a false alarm. This also means that you have to redo. If it is like so, then it's good. So if you look at Michelle's, this is called the yin yang. One is closed, one is open. So the stick that came out is 88. So she has to go there now and find out what 88 means. So where's 88? And here's the interesting thing. The piece of paper is written with so very cryptic, poetic, fortune telling that most people cannot decipher that well. So that's why we have this guy sitting here. Let me show you who he is. So almost every Chinese temple there will be like a Sifu guy sitting there who knows all that what it means. Sifu,
你好，
好冇？
好，你好。
好，我嘅太太求咗一個簽出嚟咗，冇咩識讀。
得我幫佢。
See, this is where my Sifu comes in and it's gonna help Michelle to decipher.
工作啊，
So he actually asked, what did you ask?
OK 啊，咁細。
Well, one glance and he said, Michelle, it's good, but you gotta be patient.
唔可以做太多。
唔可以揾太多嘢嚟做啊！如果你已經喺一樣嘢裏邊，已經係單呢樣嘢已經俾你好多嘢好。
冇做太多嘢。
太多啊！ 盡力守住佢嘅全部嘢，就唔需要去擔心。OK。
唔該晒。